they're the ones who think we're nuts. That's my favorite part.
I'm kind of a skeptic, and I don't trust people.
It's okay to be skeptical. I think people are looking so hard
Fucking
for reaching for stupid little details, right? That sounded pretty crazy, and then it turned out to be true. There's people that still refuse to believe that stuff is targeted in any way. Nah, your phone isn't listening. You don't be fucking stupid. Like, they're the opposite.
You're fucking dumb if you don't believe it.
They're the opposite of a conspiracy theorist, which
They
makes
just don't believe in any of it.
Well, don't believe Nick. And sometimes it's the things that really bug me that are the little details. It's not that they don't believe in any of it. They don't think that the either world is that way or that the technology is even sophisticated enough to do stuff like that. Like the deepfake stuff.
Right.
A very close friend of mine is like, no. Look at them. It's that person. I'm like, no, they don't need the person anymore.
Right.
They need X number of hours of video or audio, and then they got them.
Right.
No. Come on now. You're talking years in the future. I'm like, no, I'm not.
Motherfucker, it is right now.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's the opposite of a conspiracy theorist, which kind of makes me laugh in a way.
Right.
But if there's one side of the spectrum, well, I guess there's got to be the other one, right?
Takes all kinds, right?
Takes all kinds, which is, I think, what we were calling this episode, right?
I think it is, actually.
It takes all kinds.
So, you want to just jump into it? You got all your stuff ready?
Yeah, let's get after it, man.
All right, man. Well, welcome everybody to the I Shower After Work podcast again. Podcast for everything trades and trades related. We're in for another week, another fun little episode here. Jason is sitting across from the table with me with all of his stuff ready to go. He's all organized. Look at that shit.
Anxious today.
How are you doing, my man?
Not bad. And you, buddy? How was your week?
It's going all right. I can't complain too loud. It is what it is.
Yes,
I hate to be that way, but it is what it is.
We're in that time of year where it's getting towards the end of the winter and we just want to get through to the summer. And I understand, buddy. Yeah. Get through the last couple of weeks, months of bad weather and get back after it.
Right. And I made the mistake of starting up my motorcycle last week. And I'm just like, I gotta go.
That's on you,
right?
That's why I put mine in storage. I don't even want to look at it all winter, folks. I really do not.
Right, and I should have done that. But this week, on this episode, I think what we should touch on, and it should be a fun little deal, and I hope everybody enjoys this. We might actually ruffle some feathers, or maybe not, and it's just a fun time. But conspiracy theories, man.
I would yes.
Conspiracy theories.
You definitely, if you've worked in construction long enough, and probably not even in construction anymore, in any industry now, you run into that person occasionally who believes some wild shit.
Right.
I can speak specifically. My real first occasion to have this, we were doing a car wash. And one of the guys that was with the car wash end of the company who took care of most of the equipment install and things like that, we just powered them up. This guy was a dead set, true on, everyday believer that the world was definitely flat.
Really? Like flat?
Flat. You hear someone talk about a flat earther? This guy was a flat earther. He was a card carrying member, had a little sticker on his water bottle, which is what prompted me to ask him. And that's when I lost a half an hour lunch hour listening to this guy.
Yeah, don't do that.
In retrospect, I did try to give him a shot because there was a few other guys around. I didn't want to seem like a real asshole and just shut him down. It seemed rude, right? I had 3 weeks left working with these guys.
Right.
So I gave him the opportunity. I'm like, hey, man, sell me. Oh, listen, sell me. Give me the points. Make me believe that I'm telling you 60, 90 seconds. I was already tuned out.
Right. The flat earthers strike me as kind of funny because there's a lot of different... from what I understand, there's a lot of different aspects to the flat earther theory. I've heard one variation that it's based in the biblical sense.
Okay.
So where it's not flat earth, but it's different than flat earth, but it still is flat earth.
Oh, so there's like a subsect of even slightly differently crazy people.
Yeah.
Why am I not even remotely fucking surprised at that?
It's called the ferment.
Ferment
Yeah, the earth ferment. I don't know if you've ever looked it up. You should look it up once. It's how the Bible describes the earth, right?
Okay, so there's a religious version of the same sect of people.
Yes.
Oh, that's even better.
Oh.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's even better.
Yeah, it goes way down the rabbit hole, man.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and it's all described on like. Do you know you were raised Catholic?
My
weren't you?
family was going to church Catholic. I was never really hard involved, but yes, my family is, as a general, we're Catholics. Yep.
Okay, so you know some of the Bible stories, Noah with the great flood.
Yep.
Right. So what they're saying is that the waters came from the heavens, so the ferment, if I can break this down for you, and believe me, I'm explaining this because you've never heard it.
Thank God this is the first one we're filming on video, folks. You might see this clip. Go ahead, buddy. Lay it on us.
So the earth, the ground and the soil is flat, but then there's a dome that's over top of the flatness, right?
Oh, yeah. I've seen this. I've seen this. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Okay. And the moon and the sun and everything is inside this dome. And the planets are all inside this dome, right? And then there's water surrounding the dome.
Interesting.
Like this big ball of fucking water.
Man, well, like I said, the name of the episode is Takes All Kinds, because it really does. Like, we're going to have people from so many different backgrounds. It's just only going to be eventual amount of time before you run into somebody with a belief or a personality that, whether it's a conspiracy theory, quote unquote, or not, it's going to be pretty messed up, man.
Right.
And
Right.
my favorite part of it was, and once I was thinking about this episode too, because we've all met those people on the job sites, and they're the ones who think we're nuts. That's my favorite part. The way I'm looking at them,
Yeah.
I've noticed them. I've tried to be self-aware of them mirroring back my same look of like, what? To me. Head cocked a little bit to the side like a dog, like, what? What? You said, no. Like, they think that about us, that we
Yes.
don't believe these things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to take a minute here, if we could. I just looked some stuff up. What are some of the really out there ones that you've heard? Because there's the obvious ones. I mean, like, people talk about the moon landing, which I'm going to bring up later. And then obviously more recently things like Epstein's Island. They said that was fake. I mean, that turned out to be true. MK Ultra with the CIA giving people drugs and stuff like mind control and all that. It turns out some of these were true, right? Have you met anybody who thought you were the crazy one for not believing their theory?
No, I've never actually met that side of the spectrum yet. But maybe that's because I limit my interaction to.
Oh, yes, and I want to interact. Yeah, okay,
Right.
maybe that's true. Yeah, I want to interact with these people.
Right.
I'll actively, if I know one's around, I want to hear what they have to say.
Because it you're a better man than I, because it makes my head hurt when I listen to them and just like, I just want to slap you, silly.
This is the same thing as occasionally going into Walmart at 2 a.m. just to feel like a slightly better person in the world. Like, that's why I do it. I'm like, well, I know I'm pretty fucked up,
That's so true.
but I'm not that fucked up. Like, it's just a sounding board for me to remind myself that I could be worse.
We're calling that one buddy that's always the drama of the group and being like, God, thank God I don't have. You call him just to talk to him, just so that you feel a little bit better about your life.
Oh, I've never done that, but that's a good idea. Now that you've done that, I'm going to figure out somebody, because there's definitely somebody in my life who's always got some shit going, who all seem like a nice guy, calling up saying, hey brother, how you doing? When in fact it's like, make me feel better about my day. Because I know you got some shit going.
I mean, as a matter of fact, I know for a fact that you've looked at me and said, thank God I don't have kids, after I've bitched about my kids.
But it's not just you, buddy. I've looked at many people, lots of strangers. I've said in the past, my wife and I will occasionally high five in the grocery store, and some kids losing their shit, right?
Yep.
That's not just you. I gotta do that with everybody.
The craziest ones that I've ever heard was the ones that, like, reptiles are running the U.S. government. Reptilian people.
Can I jump in here for a second?
Absolutely.
So I have met, in my tenure now, I've met two of these flat earthers. And I did meet a guy who had not a staunch belief, but something about what you're saying right now. The earth, in this guy's opinion now, people, this is me quoting, this is not my belief. I'm going to be very clear. But his belief was that the earth was actually hollow, and it was of race of his words, not mine, bisexual lizard people who are the ones actually running the government.
Oh, okay.
He specifically included that extra detail, as if lizard people from the hollow center of the earth actually being the ones running the government wasn't wild enough. For some reason, it was an important distinction to him. They were bisexual lizard people. And in that particular case, that's also where I lost that guy. That was the end of that conversation.
That was when you checked out.
Yeah, my nice guy sit around and give you a minute? Nah.
Wow. Yeah, I couldn't get behind that one if I wanted to.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, I looked it up, man. 32% of Americans believe in at least one conspiracy theory. Not wholeheartedly, right? But have at least enough skepticism to go, that one could be true.
And I think that's important for people to actually have.
That's almost a third of people who are like, yeah, probably. Yeah. Like, not everything, right?
I have a couple of them.
Lay it on me.
Well, oh, God.
Okay, real quick so we don't fall down a rabbit hole here. We can both agree there were some real squirrely things going on about COVID, yes?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, let's move on.
For sure.
Folks, we understand that's a big one here. Let's move on past that.
Yeah, let's not touch on that one.
Not on that one. Let's go.
The ones that, and I'm just going to say there's a couple that I believe halfway. I'm not a full conspiracy theorist, but I have enough skepticism because of other things that I've heard along the ways in other aspects not connected to said events.
Right. Knowing that they've definitely, whoever they happens to be in this case, have lied to us in the past, probably. So, yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah.
The biggest one that I always question is the moon landing.
There are some things that I've heard over the years that have made me a little skeptical there too. What have you heard that's put you down that road?
And the progression that I've had as I've gotten older and listened to more interviews and seen other things is, one, when NASA tells people, oh, we got rid of the tech to be able to go to the moon, right? There was an interview, the guy flat out said, no, we don't have that tech anymore. And then there's other interviews saying, well, we're creating this new engine to get us out of low orbit space travel. So low orbit space travel is still considered, it's not the moon. The moon is not in our low orbit.
So they're trying to say it's a technology problem when we can probably all agree the technology to get to space is significantly more advanced in the last 50 years.
Right. So it's just like, okay, so we've never had an engine that can actually get us out of low orbit. Really?
Yeah, that does sound kind of squirrely, yeah.
And that is coming from actual interviews with NASA people. They were talking about other aspects, other things not connected to the moon landing whatsoever. So
I see, man. Because I saw on a documentary one time the data discs that they used to use, the old school computer style, the ones that had all the telemetry data from the trip there and back somehow got reused again.
How does that happen?
Man, the government keeps everything.
Right.
The first trip to the moon?
You're not going to keep that?
No. That ain't a hockey puck on somebody's 500th goal or whatever, right?
Exactly.
That's important data on your very first landing on the moon?
Right.
No, they wouldn't have lost that.
It's not a high school project on a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
That one made me quit. When I heard that was the turning point for me. When they say, oh, it looks like a soundstage. Well, cameras sucked back then, and you're on the moon. Like, you're lucky we could get a camera at all, or video, right? Okay, those kind of look fucked up, sure, because the cameras and the pictures suck.
Right.
But when I heard that part, I'm like, that seems unlikely.
Right.
But again, the fuck do I know, right?
Right. And that's where I'm at with it. And be like, okay, I'm not educated enough to actually make a decision. I just I'm kind of a skeptic, and I don't trust people.
It's okay to be skeptical. I think a lot of people have gotten more skeptical of some things these last few years with how things have gone, right? I think that's a real common thing.
I'd have to agree.
You add on that, so we talked about the flat earthers, and real quick before I move on to my next point here, if you want a good laugh on a Sunday morning, there is a documentary on Netflix. It's called Behind the Curve. It's a few years old, but it is about what I would refer to as kind of the unofficial king and queen of the flat earthers. They seem to be the ones who are heading up all the conferences, which, by the way, there's fucking conferences
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cruises and right. But watch this Behind the Curve. It interviews a number of people, but specifically these two most of the time. And then side notes in this little short documentary. It's only short. It's only an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 25 minutes. There's also two separate groups doing experiments to prove that the Earth is, in fact, flat, spending significant amounts of money and time and scientific effort, quote unquote. Spoiler alert, doesn't go the way they hoped.
Yeah, right.
'Cause,
I imagine not.
But I highly recommend, if you want a good laugh, it is a laugh. Behind the Curve on Netflix is about the flat earthers, and it's really great.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, because that spun me down another thing where I've met some people who not always believe these things, but had some knowledge of it because either they knew somebody or they'd read something or whatever. That some of these conspiracy theories slip way down the road. There's a group of people who also believe space is fake. That the dome you talked about, they have some sort of similar belief about a dome. That's just the lights of whatever enclosure we're all stuck in, like animals in a zoo for aliens or something. Space is fake. Birds are fake. I also heard.
I've heard that one.
I saw, honest to God, no exaggeration, I saw somebody with a sticker on their car today. A gray Caravan, Dodge Caravan, and the bird's head was like a CCTV camera.
Okay.
Is it right? There's people who think that that's all surveillance by the government shit. All birds are fake.
What?
Yeah, that one just seemed like maybe a subreddit goof or whatever. No, man, I looked into that. There are discussion groups of people who think and put up pictures and put up detailed
Like all birds.
all birds.
Like waterfowl, birds, anything that flies.
Any bird is a surveillance of some corporation or government to get information on you because we don't think about them because they're able to go anywhere. These people actually exist.
I eat turkey for Thanksgiving. I've shot pheasants and ate them.
But if you have these strong beliefs, and this is something that I noticed when I was, again, like I said, I like to talk, I know, is the question, right? I like to talk to these people that I want to understand how their brain works. You know what I mean? What do you think you're getting if you have a chicken sandwich? Now, I have never actually asked that question of somebody because I've never met a person who really believes this, right? This person who told me made me aware of the fact that it exists, and when I looked into it, they do exist. What it was is,
I have that in my list.
yeah, I'd like to know, where do you think chicken comes from? Like, what do you think you're eating? Like, I have so many questions. How insane are you? Because if they're really into it, here's the great part. They have answers for what should be obvious questions to poke holes in their conspiracy theory. But since it's an obvious question, they have also thought about it. Just because somebody's a conspiracy theorist doesn't mean they're not intelligent. They thought it out too, and they have answers for things like that. When I asked the flat earth guy about gravity, man, that was a 5-minute, what in his head probably sounded really scientific, of gibberish of 12th grade high school science class.
Okay.
But he had to have some sort of answer because people in the past have been like, but if it's flat, like, how does gravity work? Like, you know how gravity works, right? No, because nobody does. Like, how do you explain that we don't just fly off? Like, what are we doing here? They're so much fun, man. I think it annoys you and it entertains me, and I think that's why I talk to them.
So the one guy on the job site that I ran into gave me this conspiracy that the devil was walking the earth, and we have signs like the Monster cans, Monster Energy drink.
I haven't heard this one.
Oh yeah, so this insignia on the Monster
Yeah,
Monster
I
can,
recall it.
right? It's Hebrew. If you look it up in Hebrew letters, it's 666.
No.
Yeah. And that's an actual fact.
That's pretty funny.
That's legit.
That's pretty
but
good.
then, of course, the devil's walking the earth, and it's the devil is in all the actors and everybody in media and
Oh yeah, pushing its influence, right? Yeah.
controlling the people.
Well, there was also the one that I found that everyone thought that Snapple, remember the Snapple drink?
Oh yeah,
That Snapple was tied in with the KKK because on the original label, there was a little tiny K over what was supposed to be some Massachusetts Tea Party ship that was actually a slave ship that somebody found and went, no, look, it's this ship. People are looking so hard
Fucking
for reaching for stupid little details, right? Because there's the obvious ones that, since they've been around so long and people love certain things, they'll hold on to them. So like the the JFK assassination. Well, everybody loved JFK at the time, or most people did, right? So that one holds
He was
true,
huge.
right? Elvis is still alive because people want to think Elvis is still alive. Tupac, same thing.
Tupac.
Right? Those ones are because it's something people want.
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana, right? There's a lot of that goes on.
Yep.
And then there's the ones that swing in a less conspiracy theory direction and more of just some religious sometimes beliefs. Evolution, for example. Evolution is really big. I've met people, family, friends, who evolution absolutely did not happen because they have a different belief of what put people on Earth, right?
Right.
And then the people who think it's aliens.
Right.
I mean,
We were seated.
it swings so many ways, man.
Yeah.
Now, again, I understand why you tune out and you don't want to get the headache talking to these people, but this is why I find it so entertaining.
Yeah.
I know they're not going to convince me, and if they do, that's on me.
Right.
If all of a sudden I think the dinosaurs are fake, that's me for being sucked into the cult or whatever, right?
I think the reason why I try not to engage with people in this space is I don't want to be the guy to look at them and go, "You're a fucking retard." Calm down for a minute.
Do you think maybe they need a couple more people in their lives to say that? Or something
sometimes.
along those lines, right?
Hey, I've needed people to say that to me.
It's also
Okay,
it's also not your
idiot.
place if you just see them on the job site.
Right.
That's your brother-in-law. You should have let me square you away for a sec. Like they definitely went to the moon, man. You should shut the fuck up about that. Like, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, if it's just some stranger.
Yeah, exactly.
We were talking about some of the wildest ones we heard. Obviously, the space is fake one is I find really funny, right?
That one's crazy.
That one cracks me up.
Right.
That Disney, this is my favorite new one I found. You know the Frozen movies, you got kids, right?
Yeah.
Elsa and singing the song
Yeah.
that they definitely stole from Fiddler on the Roof. There's another conspiracy theory, by the way.
Right.
That they only produced that movie and pumped it out and made it such a big thing with all the advertisements and everything because they wanted to stop people from connecting Frozen and Walt Disney's head on the internet together. They used to say that Walt Disney froze his head and then he was going to be reanimated. That was always a weird conspiracy theory
Right,
for back in the
right,
day.
right.
That they did this because they didn't want those two words connected on the internet anymore. They wanted Disney and Frozen to bring up Elsa and the singing kids and whatever, and no longer that conspiracy theory for whatever reason. Now, see,
It kind of makes sense.
this is how you can see. This is why I brought this one up, right? You could believe something like that if you thought that there was actually any reason for someone to freeze their head. But
Well, I mean, Walt Disney wasn't the sanest guy.
as we've learned, and from what I've heard, maybe a little bit racist too.
Yeah, and had a lot of money, so all things combined, I guess crazier shit's happened.
So if I put you on the spot, man, what would you say, and take a minute to think about it, I'll even give you mine in advance, just so you have a chance here. What would you say is the ones that you've heard, not just today, but in your mind, the absolute most craziest out there ones you're like, get the fuck out of here. And then the one that you would consider if someone said, no, from now on, everyone has to have a conspiracy theory or you don't get to vote or whatever, right? You're forced to have at least one. What's the one that seems the most plausible to you? So for me, I'm going to tell you, like, there's a theory out there that the entire art industry is just for people to launder money.
Yep.
That one makes the most sense to me because why is that, whatever it is, worth $170 million? No, it's not.
Right.
That's canvas and paint. And yeah, you can say it has value. No. That's you using that to change hands and money and clean that money. That one makes sense to me.
Yep.
So can you think any that are kind of really plausible to you?
Well, just because I kind of hate how our country is right now. The ones that I can kind of lean into are like in how horrific it actually was. The 9/11 conspiracy theories.
Yeah, there's a lot of information to take in there, buddy.
There is too many things that make somebody question any of it. Now, I am what I consider, before I go down that road, I am what I consider to be a patriot. I love my country.
Sure.
I don't like my government, but I love my country.
Perfect.
Okay. And I think that one's the one that I can kind of agree with a lot of the aspects about it, that it was staged and planned, and because we needed an economic boost. We needed a reason to go to war. Right. That gave us a reason to go to war.
That's happened on more than one occasion.
Right.
Gulf of Tonkin, if you don't know about it, look it up.
Right. So that's the one that I can kind of be like, you know. The craziest, batshit craziest one that I still believe people can go fly off a cliff for is the flat earth one. That is the one that I just draw the fucking line on it. It's just like, dude, fuck, stop.
Okay, so that's also the one that I think is the craziest, but only for one reason and one reason only. There is no one in the world, if you brought me face to face with the most staunch, most intelligent, most ready to go conversationally flat earther in the world, and they still could never explain to me in a reasonable way, why are they lying to you about this?
Right.
Where is the possible benefit for anything or anyone for them to have such a gigantic conspiracy theory? Why?
Right.
That's nobody can answer that. Why?
Right.
So I could say why 10 more times. It's like,
And the only reason why I'm just straight up against it is I have been officially now, since I went deep sea fishing, on the ocean.
yep.
The further you get away from land, the less land you see. And the mountaintops are be the last things that you see. Nah, fucking, come on, science, people. Jesus.
Well, I'm glad at least we could agree on this one. Because to me, I'm glad that's the craziest one to me. Right. Only because, again, I could see them lying about some of the other conspiracy theories, sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
And a lot of, and I will say this when it comes to conspiracy theories, a lot of them are rooted in actual make sense facts.
or facts that they pushed a little further than were real or kind of twisted them to make it sound right. But yes, there's like
It has its roots.
Epstein's Island is a perfect example, right? People talked about that who people would say are crazy people.
Right.
Eddie Bravo. Right?
Right.
Man, that guy was saying for years that there was an island where billionaires go and they have sex with young girls, and people are like, man, shut up. The vindication those people must have felt who knew that was going on or whatever, when it finally came out, like, that sounded pretty crazy, and then it turned out to be true. And that's what I think will keep a certain amount of people who might have been on the fence about something sort of locked into their conspiracy theories and their beliefs, because once in a while it turns out to be true, and people like vindication. So wouldn't it be nice to hold what all your friends told you was a crazy opinion for all these years, and then you get to look at them all and go, I fucking told you, right? Exactly. That's exactly. We didn't practice that, folks.
Right.
That's the exact reaction you would have. I fucking told you. Like, so
for sure.
Not to keep Canada out of this. Okay. Just
please.
In the spirit of honesty here, I did find something that I wasn't even aware of this one. So most of you out there have heard throughout your lives at a social event or a party or something when someone would talk about gaydar. And that was their theoretical way of saying they could pick out a gay person or whatever, whether they were gay or straight themselves. You know, you've heard it as just a vernacular thing, right?
It was big in the 90s.
Or it was a big thing to say, like, if you could pick out somebody who was, whether you were looking to whatever. So anyways, gaydar instead of radar was the thing. It was a thing that was said. Canada actually tried to develop this in the 1960s, and I was embarrassed when I found that, man.
No fucking way. Did they actually?
They put in a bunch of money in the 60s. They had a scientific division, I don't know if it was government or military or what, to try to develop something that could detect whether someone was gay or not. And I, even as I am laughing right now, when I first found that, I thought I'm like, no, that can't be right. Yeah, I found a few reputable sources that were like, oh yeah, they definitely tried to do that.
What?
I mean, back then, it was
so
different.
How long ago did that carry as a conspiracy theory?
Oh, I'm sure. Well,
did they deny it?
It couldn't have been too long, because as a kid growing up in Canada, I never heard that conspiracy theory. So had it been big, that would have been something that young fellas talked about
right
around the baseball field, or like, you definitely would have been like, the government was trying to make. that would have come up. I'd never heard that until I found it on the internet when I was trying to just look something interesting up, to be honest to hear. Actually put time and effort and money and resources into trying to develop a tool that could detect gay people. Because at the time, they didn't want that in the military, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Right. No.
like that was a 80s, 90s thing where tail hook and all that and everything, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's right, but at the time that was kind of like a social public opinion about the military or whatever. They actually wasted all that time and money. I mean, I don't know how long it went on. I just said in the 60s.
Wow. Holy shit.
Imagine that now, fucking gaydar. Like,
Fucking Canada.
cop, right? Fucking Canada, right? Cop out there with like the radar gun. You got one like, no,
Yeah.
that dude likes wiener. Like, no, that's not right. Like, what are we doing here? Stop all that. Like, who fucking cares? Let them people go to war if they want. What do we give a fuck?
Right. They can operate a gun just like we can.
Yeah. Love who you want. Just point the gun in the right direction. Like, I don't give a fuck.
And don't fucking look down the barrel. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly right.
I do like the one that the Denver International Airport is a hub for the Illuminati.
Yeah. I've heard people talk about this.
Yeah.
I didn't get a ton of details. Do you have any details at all?
I looked it up specifically because of I've heard it, but I was in the same boat. And what it comes down to is like all the little things of the Denver airport, right? How they say that it's designed to replicate the Rocky Mountains, but that's, you know, the spires of the Illuminati.
Yeah, okay.
And then the gargoyles overlook the baggage claim. The murals depicting scenes of war and horror, you know.
All right, I'm listening. Maybe I found a new conspiracy theory. Maybe we finally found. Let me keep going.
It says, and there's a 32-foot blue horse with red eyes presiding over the road leading in and out of the terminal. Right.
So these things are all supposed to be signs of the Illuminati, I take it?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so they don't go into great detail of what I found because it's kind of meh, but it's just the way, the inlay of the floor and the symbols for gold AU and silver AG, referencing Colorado's mining history, became a secret message about the man-made pathogen known as the Australian antigen, which was supposedly made by the Illuminati.
Interesting.
Right.
So they built a whole airport just to, and there's where you lose me again. Like,
Right.
that doesn't seem financially viable. Why? Just to prove you exist? Isn't the Illuminati's whole idea to make sure no one knows they exist?
Well, that's the idea, right? But there again, you know, let's say this, hiding in plain sight, right?
Well, I guess you got to flex your power and your behind the scenes money a little bit, right?
I mean, if you got it, might as well flaunt it.
I
at
suppose
some point.
that's true.
And then they're saying, of course, people go deep further, and they say that there's a 6-story deep bunker that's underneath the airport for all the elites.
Well, if you were a conspiracy theorist, and if you did think that the way things had gone in the world over the last, let's say, 6 years didn't seem a bit grim all the way around.
Oh, fuck, right?
Shootings and wars and all sorts of terrible stuff, right? If you had money, wouldn't you be building a bunker of some kind just in case? Like,
you know, I know a guy, I work with a guy, he built a safe room in his house when he built his house. I think it's more for weather, but
okay, so
it is a safe room.
Have you been in this said safe room?
No, I have seen it. He sent Snapchats of it as he was building it. It's got a full vault door.
Were there firearms in this room?
There will be. He's just moving in.
You ain't shooting a tornado, motherfucker. That ain't for weather. That's for zombies and shit. Your buddy, God love you, whoever you are. Yeah.
Jeff, I'm calling you out, dude.
Yeah, that's Jeff. That sounds sketchy. That's on the edge, buddy. Like, maybe talk to your friends a little more often. Just once a week, maybe. Like, I'm just screwing with you, Jeff. It's good to have some sort of thing like that. No, if I had the means, man, I'd have a fucking just a little crash pad in case things went sideways for a few months or whatever. Wait till the power came back on. But I mean,
right?
I don't got the money to do it, so
right. I need acreage in order for
you're
that
right.
to
I don't
happen.
have all that. I'll just have to ride it out, I guess.
I have in Rapid, my hometown. I actually have seen a house. We went into a service call, and the guy was super happy. He just bought the house. He's like, "You will not believe what I found." And we're all like, "Okay." And he walked us into the bedroom that was in the basement, and then to the closet. And I'm like, "Is this guy gonna fucking kill us?" Like, opened up the closet and then opened up a little door. And there was a legit, like, walkway down. It was probably maybe 10 feet long, but at a pretty steep angle. There's a bunker in his backyard.
That he put in, or that he knew it was there? Or
it was there with the house when he bought it. And the house was built in, like, early 50s.
That's just convenient. That's all that is.
I'm like, well, that's fucking cool.
If you already got one there, put some water and some ramen noodles and a bit of rice down there and some toilet paper and call it a day, right? Like,
full living quarters
yeah,
down
just in case, right? Like,
there. It was plumbed and everything. I'm like, dude.
yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Holy shit. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you already got it. You may as well stock that thing up just in case.
You'd never find me in my house at that point.
Yeah, see, something like that. I know that's not exactly a conspiracy theory, but the people who intentionally do that stuff is what I was getting at. Where they got a whole bunker, and I got 3 years worth of food and water and medical supplies, and I got batteries lasting me for days, and I got a solar panel and a battery bank, and like, whoa, calm down, sunshine.
Right.
You can't last a day without Netflix. Like, you ain't going to be okay in a bunker for years. Just relax.
Oh, I got my wind-up radio and my ham radio and everything else.
That's it.
Yeah.
You got any other fun ones, buddy?
No, the rest of them are like, the rest of the ones that I have are just the ones that we've grown up with.
Shout out to people who believe in Bigfoot. If you still believe, shout you out. If you still believe in Bigfoot, shout out to you.
Yeah,
like, I'm
Bigfoot,
there.
Loch Ness Monster.
Area 51. You still believe in aliens in Area 51? I'm behind you. Good for you for sticking with it. Yeah, some of the old school ones, a Loch Ness Monster house, right?
Right.
As a Scot, I should really appreciate that one. Yeah, if you think Tupac and Biggie are still alive, hold out hope.
Yeah.
I'd go
Elvis,
I'll go to the comeback concert to anybody who's supposedly been dead for 20 years. Like, I'll buy a ticket. I'm there. Right? Yeah. I don't want to see laser Prince. I want to see Prince. Like,
if they're $400, I ain't buying the tickets.
Well, it's all going to be on the free internet soon, man.
Yeah, it'll be a live feed.
Yeah, it'll be a live, right? Yeah. Live from the afterlife. Right. Elvis opening up for Tupac and
AI generated.
Yeah, oh yeah, right. AI generated Prince, who for some reason now is 7 feet tall.
Right.
I'm glad we went off on the rails a little bit today, buddy. I wanted to have a little fun today, and we'd done some kind of serious ones lately, and I'm talking about the old timers and all that. So,
right.
Before we finished up here, if it's all right, I wanted to shout out a few new people who added us to their regular listening, I guess, and gave us a chance to interact with them a little bit.
I love that.
Yeah, our friend Sharon Murray, Jeff Borka. Adam, forgive you, man. I've known you for years, and I'm still probably going to butcher your last name. Maleka. Anyways, Adam, old friend of my wife and I, really great guy. Lucy Ratola, Catherine Heidegger, Tina Smith, our buddy Dom Hamilton. Basically, the lady who should have been my sister, only she was born in the United States and not in Canada. Alexis Hayes started following us, so shout out to Alexis.
Thank you very much.
And whoever is fuck you, John.
That's a dirt worker.
I assume that was somebody you do for one of the job sites, but whoever decided to pick fuck you, John as their name, God love you. I appreciate you all listening. If that's everything, man, I just want to remind everybody, please reach out to us on all the socials. We've said them a million times, but at ISAW Podcast on Instagram, isawpodcast@gmail.com for the emails, and isawpodcast.com is our website, obviously. If you do get on there and you want to opt in, we do have the ability to take phone calls and voicemails and text messages and all that now. That is 507-607-ISAW, and we'd really like to interact with us there as much as you like. We can't get back to you immediately because John and I both work for a living, but we will definitely get back to you. And if you do happen to leave a great text or voicemail, email, any of the DMs and the Instagrams, we're going to have an episode real shortly here that is just feedback from the people who've been listening to the show. So get your names in there, get your comments in there in the meantime, and we'd be happy to shout you out.
Absolutely.
Have I forgotten anything, my friend?
No, just rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're on.
Please do. And if you do nothing else this week and we made you laugh at least once, tell a friend. Help us out in the ISAW podcast here.
And if you have a friend that's all like, well, I don't know I don't have any of those platforms, let's talk. It's Spotify, it's Apple, it's Amazon, it's iHeartRadio.
Right. We are on YouTube. And that brings up a good point, man. This last week, Apple added the option that they're typing out
They're giving a transcript.
Yeah, the transcript thing. For some reason, I keep having trouble coming up with that word. Transcript for our actual audio. So like my spouse who is hearing impaired, anybody who might even still be interested in what we have to say and does need, or it makes it easier for them to read as they listen, Well, you can get that on Apple specifically now. So.
And YouTube does it as well.
And
Fantastic
and
jobs.
YouTube does it automatically as well. So I know that's some technical stuff here at the end, but we want everybody to listen in whatever format makes it the easiest for us to get out to you. And if that's everything, I just want to remind everybody we did not talk about construction today, but your work still keeps the world working.
Amen.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir.
We'll talk to you next time,
Sláinte.
folks. Thanks for listening. Sláinte.
Good done.